Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the CheezeTalk podcast. I'm your host, Brian Rago. Tonight, I'm joined by guest Justin. Justin is excited. Go Pack, go! Before I get to Justin, I want to give a shout out to the Open Network for giving me the ability to podcast under their umbrella. Um, Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Justin Amandro. I'm from Cape Coral, Florida. As you can see, I'm from Florida. As you can see from my shirt. I was born originally in upstate New York, in a town called Schenectady. And I've been a Packers fan for basically 24 years now. Back when Brett Favre was a quarterback, and I've I've been I'll always be a Packers fan until the day I die. So there's that.
Okay, what made you become a Packer fan?
A couple of things. There's two reasons I became a Packers fan at first. One was because of the colors, green, gold, yellow, and all that stuff. And I have a pennant right here. Brett Favre, he was the guy that got me interested, that got me obsessed with being a Packers fan to begin with.
Okay.
Seeing all his highlights and everything, and then as I went on, I learned about the history of a team, the connection with the community, the winning traditions, and hoping to get hoping that the Packers can add another Lombardi Trophy to their trophy case this year.
Sure. Do you think they will with Jordan Love as quarterback?
At some point, yes.
You
This
think so?
season, yes. This season, there's high hopes for this season and the next few seasons, and as long as everyone stays healthy and no one messes up at the worst possible time, I think they can pull it off.
Do you think they did the right thing by letting both of their kickers go the last couple of days?
I think so. Yeah, it's been I've been following all this stuff. I've seen their iffy kicking percentages during training camp, and I mean, we don't want another Ernest Carlson situation where he basically went wide left and messes up against San Francisco,
Right.
and he also led the league last year in extra points missed, which is it's pretty much inexcusable because it's just 32-yard chip shot. But I'm
Right.
hoping that the new kicker from Tennessee, I mean, he's perfect from he's been perfect from extra points so far, and I'm hoping that he kicks very well for us. Hopefully, there's not too many situations where we have to do field goals.
Yeah. What was that stat that I saw the other day? His college career, he was perfect kicking extra points. He didn't miss one. So that's something positive to look forward to, don't you think?
Yeah,
I know it's kind of we're past this point already in the kind of, but we can still drop back and talk about it. What are your thoughts on the Packers draft this last year?
um, 2024 draft was very solid in my opinion. Um, Jordan. I know there are a couple of guys that are not going to be starting right now. Jordan Morgan at the guard position and Edwin Cooper at linebacker because they're trying to learn the playbook and they had some little injury hiccups and everything. But let's see, Marshall Lynn might be injury. Marshall Lynn might play at some point, but I think Javon Bullard is going to make a big impact during his rookie season, and also Jacob Monk. He could be the new center at some point.
Right.
We don't know how Josh Myers will do.
Yeah. Do you think? What do you think of drafting the handful of safeties that we drafted? Do you think that's going to come into play at some point?
Yeah, I think it'll definitely come into play. They completely revamped the safety position after last year. They let General Savage go to Jacksonville. Best of luck to him. They drafted Bullard. They drafted Evan Williams. They got McKinney in free agency. Xavier McKinney, that was a fantastic acquisition. Um, and I think the future is bright for the safety position. As long as I mean, knock on any good surface that everyone stays healthy in all positions.
Yeah. I like what McKinney brought to the defense. I mean, he came over as the captain for the Giants. And then you got Jair adding Bullard, and you got hopefully Eric Stokes comes back healthy. Then you got the defensive line. I think is going to be better, and then the linebackers got a lot better.
I have high hopes for the defensive line. Like Kane Clark, just got extended. Carl Brooks, Kobe Wooden, Lucas Van Ness. I mean, that defensive line is going to face against the Eagles, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean,
how do you think they're going to do in Brazil?
Brazil's going to be interesting. Definitely a different environment. A little bit more. It could be more friendlier than what Philadelphia would have been. So it's going to be a major Packers fan, major Packers fan following in Brazil. Even though every team's fan base is going to be represented there, but it'll be mostly Packers from what I think.
So. Yeah, it's kind of like when they go over to London and say it's like the Packers against the Saints in London, and you see like all these different teams from the NFL being represented over there. It's going to be kind of cool, but there seems to be quite the following for the Packers fans down in Brazil.
Yeah, I'm hoping that unlike the London game, the Packers win in Brazil.
Yeah, that'd be a big start to the season, starting with a W against the Eagles, for sure.
And the opportunity to rest for a couple more days, because it's a Friday. Everyone else plays on Sunday. Or they can't stay in Baltimore.
Right. Speaking of the draft, Justin, who was your favorite pick?
My favorite pick were the two second rounders, Edgerrin Cooper and Javon Bullard. Now I know Cooper might not play right away, but I'm sure that once he gets himself sorted out with the playbook, I'm sure he'll contribute a lot. And like I said, Javon Bullard could be able to make a big impact in the safety position out on the other side of McKinney.
Right. I'm looking forward to Bullard and Cooper as well to see how they pick up on this Packers defense and how much of an impact that they can actually make. I'm not sure when Cooper's gonna get some playing time, but I think when he finally figures out the playbook, he's gonna make a huge impact.
Absolutely, and
you're gonna have like him on one side, you're gonna have Gary on. I mean, it's just gonna be total chaos on the defense.
Yeah, I think him and Quay Walker actually, because I think Rashawn Gary's going to be in the pass rushing. With the new 4-3 defense setup.
Right. Well, I was just saying, with them in general, disrupting that offensive line is going to be awesome to witness, and I'm glad that we don't have to go against that. Because it's scary. Our defense. You look at all the players in defense and how high draft picks they were. Mm-hmm. It's about time they come together and make a really huge impact as one.
And with the new defense coordinators, that's pretty much going to let it rip. And I'm excited for Jeff Halfway.
Yeah, same here. Do you think the switch to the 4-3 defense will fix the run defensive woes from last year?
I believe so. More people in that line, and I'm sure there'll be box will be stats for Saquon Barkley. And if the Eagles do have the opportunity to have a chance to do that brotherly shove that they do, I think that the defense will be able to stop it.
Yeah,
it won't be as strong without Jason Kelce, who retired.
Yeah, that's a good point. Him gone, and how much of an impact does that have on the offensive line?
Yeah.
Do you think there'll be a top 5 defense?
Top 5. They definitely have the opportunity to be there, but at the very least, top 10 for me. As long as they get stops at crucial times, that's all that matters. I don't want the defense to just collapse at the worst possible times.
Right. Get like a 4th and 26, and they give it up, and they've got linemen playing wide receivers out,
or just letting defenses, or just letting the offenses dink and dunk you to death. I hated that with the previous coordinator.
Yeah. Do you have an all-time favorite Packer? Brett Favre?
He's up there. I'll do a couple on offense and a couple on defense. Defense, I'll pick Charles Woodson and Reggie White. I'm gonna mention the Clay Matthews, who just got inducted to the Packers Hall of Fame, along with Aaron Campbell.
Yep.
On offense, other than quarterbacks, quarterbacks are pretty much a given. But I'll pick there's John Driver's one of them. He's just a great receiver and a great personality, and Aaron Jones was definitely a great personality. He was. It's just sad that Aaron Jones had to be let go, and then I wish him nothing but losses in Minnesota, but hopefully he stays healthy.
Yeah.
It just stinks, but it's like him. It's like Driver, Jones, and I also picked Jordy Nelson.
Yep.
It's just tough to pick. I have a whole bunch of great players over the years.
Right. I'm gonna go with one that sticks out for me. He was my favorite college player of all time. I'm gonna go with Charles Woodson. Big time. Yep. Him and Reggie White, in my eyes, defense wins championships, and they both brought that spark to the defense to get them up over the hump, But
plus Leroy Butler.
No, yeah, Butler too. I mean, there's so many players you could pick from the Packers history that are just made such an impact on the game. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What is the most memorable game that you've watched?
Not gonna pick a Super Bowl because that's an obvious thing. Super Bowl 45 against the Steelers. Man. I'm gonna say a couple of recent ones from this past year were the Chiefs game. Win against the eventual back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and we could have played against them in that Super Bowl if it wasn't for such and such. But for me, it was that whole. If I had to pick one, I'll pick that whole 2010 championship run. Winning at Philadelphia, at Atlanta, then at Chicago, and then obviously the Super Bowl against the Steelers. So I'll pick the 2010 Super Bowl run.
Okay. My game, for me, my most memorable game was at Lambeau Field. I was actually there. It was against the Lions when they had was it Sean Hill? I think it was quarterback for the Lions, and Charles Woodson had 2 interceptions that game. And one he had to return for a touchdown, and when he dove into the end zone, made the cover of Sports Illustrated. That was pretty cool to witness your idol growing up.
Yeah, I remember that pick six.
Yep.
And I completely forgot about me being at Lambeau in November of 2022 against Dallas. The overtime victory will be Aaron Rodgers' last season in Green Bay, and also Mike McCarthy's return to Lambeau as coach of the Cowboys. And even though it was a double-digit deficit in the second half, Packers came back and won in overtime.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, there's a lot of good games to think about. That. What's your favorite part about Lambeau Field?
Just the whole atmosphere. Just being around Packers fans and being around just appreciating the history. That the stadium's been there since 1957, and it's still the best. It's still the best team in the NFL, and I'm just it was just wonderful to be. Everything was awesome about Lambeau. It was just tough to pick one.
Yeah, it's like I remember going to it back when there was just a smaller. They still had the Packer Hall of Fame, but it wasn't as big as it is now. Now it's like 2 stories. There's escalators and everything.
Oh, it's huge.
And I just to see, in one of the smallest markets in professional sports to have that much history behind it and everything. I mean, I tell people that, aren't Packer fans that I've had on my podcast, even if you're not a Packer fan, if you're in Green Bay, try to make a stop at the Packer Hall of Fame. There's so much history, that to see just, you got game-worn cleats by, Brett Favre or Reggie White, or you got this and you got that, and you got, coats and purses that Vince Lombardi bought players' wives back when they won back in the 60s. It's just there's so much history. There's so much history there. It's just crazy that they've been able to keep all this stuff for the last 57 years and put it all on display for us to see. You know, it's pretty cool.
And it'll be plenty of more history in the future. And next year's NFL draft is going to be chaos in Green Bay in Talentowns, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, are you going to be there?
I'm planning to with I'm going to might be planning on sharing a room with sharing something with Mary and a couple other people. So Mary is my podcast partner with the Mac podcast. So shout out to her.
Yeah. I plan on going. I'm like, depends on how fast I drive. I can make it there in 10 minutes to Lambeau Field. So I'm just gonna have my wife drop me off at the corner of Ashland and Lombardi, and I'll walk my way down to Lambeau Field. I guess I'm fortunate enough to be that close to Lambeau Field to where I can just have my wife drop me off. So I plan on being down there for sure.
Yeah, I think Mary and I might fly over to Appleton, which is 30 minutes away, and then we're gonna stay somewhere, and that which is not too much. Stay somewhere that is not too crazy of a drive from the stadium, but I mean, we're gonna. It's gonna be crazy anyway to navigate everything. We kind of don't know where the stage is gonna be, although it could be with Lambeau in the background, because it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be in the stadium.
The draft, yeah, it's
like
crazy because
people.
Yeah, they've got so much potential on where they could do everything. You know what I'm saying? Because they keep on adding, they're buying up land left and right, and they're developing. So it'll be cool to see the final layout and what they have in store and how they're gonna present the draft. It's gonna be pretty cool to see everything happen. You know.
It would be cool if it's snowing. For the draft picks that are there to slide down the tubing before they go on the stage with Goodell. It'll be funny.
Right.
And one more thing for the NFL draft is going to be like Mark Murphy wanted the draft to be in Green Bay before he retired as president. So it would be a fantastic send off for him. And hopefully one more ring before he has to retire.
Yeah, that would be nice. Definitely. Speaking of draft, who in your lifetime, who was the biggest draft bust the Packers have drafted?
Oh, ever drafted in my lifetime? Oh well, so many, some to choose from. I think I'll go with like defensive back. Demarius Randall didn't pan out that much, and after 2015 draft, and I mean the 2015 draft as a whole didn't really. They left after all those draft picks left after a few years, and
right.
Just that whole 2015 draft didn't really.
Yeah, Demarius Randall, he was decent for the Packers, but then he went to a different team and he pretty much disappeared. You know.
I didn't want to say Kevin King because I respect the guy. I'm glad that I know that his last outings in Green Bay weren't substantial. Like he was forced. I don't blame Kevin King for being. He got torched against the Bucs in that playoff game and a few other games. But I'm glad that he got a second chance. He's now with the Falcons, and
he got released, didn't he?
Wish him the best.
Didn't he get released?
Yeah, he got. Oh, wow! I didn't realize that. Well, wherever he goes in the future, I wish him all the best. And
yeah, because I saw he had a interception in the preseason, but I'm pretty sure I saw when they had the roster cut down. I'm pretty sure the Falcons released him, but yeah, he was always good, and people always gave him a hard time because of those couple of games against the Buccaneers, and it is what it is, you know. Mm. They wanna scorch you for your couple of bad games versus the handful of good games that you had, you know.
Yeah.
When you think of Green Bay, what comes to mind?
Sense of community. Just being. everyone I kind of agrees. Everyone knows each other. Like players and fans have that sense of closeness with the bike rides during training camp for the kids, and just being able to witness everything. It's just I'm grateful for the Packers are a community owned team. People have a little piece of paper as like count as stock, and just also the greatest tradition in sports, the Lambeau Leap, and I'm looking forward to seeing more Lambeau Leaps. Like there were very few of those leaps last year. It was a little surprising there.
Yeah. Hopefully hopefully we can pick that number up this year and get a bunch of them.
Yeah. My understanding for the lack of Lambeau Leafs last year was there were a few times where the Packers were down by double digits at home, like against New Orleans, which they came back from, and then against Detroit the following week. So plus there were some times where the weather doesn't cooperate with the there was a rain for the Packers game against the Rams, and Luke Musgrave, I think it was Luke Musgrave who scored a touchdown. And I think it was because of the weather thing he decided not to leap into the stands because he doesn't want to hurt himself. That ground could be slippery.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely can be, and you don't want to, be one of the better players and go to celebrate and fall and get hurt or tear an ACL or MCL or hurt your Achilles or. What's your favorite type of cheese, Justin?
For me, it's cheddar.
Cheddar.
Yeah. I also like Swiss as well.
Okay.
But one's a stronger. I like Swiss. Swiss don't really taste the cheese part of it. That's why I like Swiss on certain sandwiches I eat.
Sure.
But cheddar cheese is my go-to for burgers.
Okay. Yeah, I like the spicier food. I like ghost pepper cheese. It's it'll put your mouth on fire if you're not used to it.
I think I've had pepper jack cheese every once or twice.
Yeah, that's good too. Absolutely. If you're going to a tailgate at Lambeau Field, what are you gonna bring?
Besides myself, I would like to bring some chips to have for a side. I'm not the cook unless someone else do the grilling. But
Right.
I'll bring the chips and just good vibes.
Yeah, absolutely. You bring yourself, bring chips, good vibes, and an empty stomach to fill up, right?
Oh, yeah, empty stomach myself. Yeah. So. I was able to walk past a few tailgating spots when I was at the game, but I didn't participate in any of the festivities. I didn't. I was a little nervous at the time. It was my first time to Lambeau. I'm hoping that's not the only time I go to Lambeau for a game, so I make myself familiar with the thing. The only food I had during that day was like when I was it was in the stadium, so I had a bratwurst in the stadium. So
yeah. So my wife is from De Pere, which is just outside of Green Bay. It's like that's where I'm at. That's where I live now. So it's about 10 minutes away from Green Bay or from Lambeau Field. And when we got married, we had our wedding rehearsal dinner at Lambeau Field. And that's back when it was called Curly's Pub. It was in Lambeau Field, and they catered to our wedding rehearsal dinner. So we had like brats, burgers, hot dogs, just a big buffet of it, and it was pretty cool to say you had part of your wedding rehearsal dinner was at Lambeau Field. That was pretty cool to have. And I had a groom's cake for the grooms in the wedding. It was like a replica cake of a cheese head, like you have on your head. I had a cake that looked just like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm glad. I'm hoping it tasted better than an actual.
Yeah, it was like a double.
Cake.
That was like a double chocolate cake. It was super good. That was 15, 16 years ago. So that was a while ago. What do you think is our biggest strength and our biggest weakness going into this upcoming season?
Well, I'll go with the weakness first, and I think it's the uncertainty with the kicking situation. Again, I'm hopeful for the new kicker that we got from Tennessee that he does well, even though he hasn't kicked a lot. I don't think he's kicked at all in the regular season in the NFL. Only regular season in college. Um, I think the biggest strength is going to be the Jordan Love in the offense. They they're more experienced now, and anybody can be wide receiver one from week to week. That's why it was kind of funny how that Matt LaFleur said he would vomit. He said he would vomit every time he hears a wide receiver one question.
Yeah.
So offense for strength and uncertainty at kicking for weakness.
Yeah. I'm still kind of curious to see how this new kickoff rule is going to work out. I don't like it so far. I just think it just ruins like the feel of the game, kind of,
Yeah, it doesn't. It definitely looks weird. We got it from the XFL/UFL, and it's not as photo worthy as the previous kickoff. Even though the previous kickoff for years has been touchback after touchback after touchback. So I'm hoping that there's more returns for Keyshawn Nixon that go for all the way.
Yep.
That's what they're hoping for. That's what they're hoping for all the returns, like less touchbacks.
Yeah.
But more chances for injury.
For sure. I can see why they changed it. And I guess I hope if they're going to change it, I hope at least it benefits some of the return specialists that stick out compared to others, like Keyshawn Nixon and a couple of other guys, who do you think will have a breakout year this year?
Okay. Offense, I think that wow. It's tough to say because a lot of these guys will have great years, but I think it's gonna be it could be Jaden Reed, or it could be Dontavian Wicks, it could be anybody. But I'll pick Reed on offense, and I'll pick I'm hoping that Quay Walker on defense. I'm hoping that he thrives in this new defense.
Yeah. Now with the numbers that Jaden Reed had last year, if he had another good year, would that really be considered a breakout year? He did pretty good last year, didn't he?
Again, if he gets more, it's like more yards in a couple. I would say over 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns might count.
Yeah. It's hard because you never know with a healthy roster steaming forward. You never know. I mean, maybe Christian Watson doesn't get hurt. Maybe he has like ungodly amount of receptions and yards and touchdowns. I mean, that would be considered a breakout year, I guess. But yeah, I could see Jaden Reed, maybe they put him back on kickoff returns or punt returns maybe a couple of times, and he breaks a couple of free for a touchdown, and he has, like you said, some more receptions, some more yards, and maybe a couple of more touchdowns. I would consider that a breakout year, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, it's always a guessing game, like they say, any given Sunday,
and it's great that Jordan Love is able to spread the rock to many targets instead of focusing on just one wide receiver one.
Yeah, I would like to see. I'd like to see Josh Jacobs have a breakout year, like just have his best season as a pro in Green Bay would be cool. On defense, I'd like to see Van Ness have like 12, 15 sacks, a bunch of just make a huge impact, for sure.
Yeah, I like those picks as well. I'm glad that we got Josh Jacobs in free agency. And he hasn't gotten a receiving touchdown yet. I'm sure that'll change relatively soon.
Especially in Green Bay's offense, in Matt LaFleur's offense.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this question: do you think Jordan Love is the long-term answer at quarterback for the Packers?
Well, as long as he improves this year, I think he will be the franchise guy. I mean, they didn't sign that extension for nothing. I think they know that they hope that he'll get better and better from year to year, and he'll be like respected as one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, and if he's not already.
Yeah, they said a big determining factor on giving him an extension was the game against the Cowboys last year. That right there showed them that they were making the right choice.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's just kind of fitting, though. It's like McCarthy's the coach in Dallas, then we just go to Dallas and just cream them.
blow them out. I love it. It had a perfect passer rating. If it wasn't for ignoring that weird drop in garbage time, he had pretty much was perfect passer rating at Dallas.
Yeah, I think it's funny how we had to kind of bring our starters back in at the end of the game, just because Dallas was making kind of a comeback during the end of that game. And I'm like, oh no, we're not going to do this, sorry boys.
And I hated the garbage time. That was the only bad thing about that win. It was just like allowing them to pretty much give Dak more fantasy points. I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of Dallas, do you think they're gonna keep Dak Prescott there long term?
That's very tough to say. I mean, but with if he has an off year where he once again messes up in crunch time, if Cowboys don't make it past the second round again, I'm not sure if the Cowboys keep him for long term. Maybe he goes elsewhere. I'm sure
right.
I'm sure some teams want him like Las Vegas or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's a good. I mean they just signed CD Lamb to an extension, but I don't know.
And they still had to figure out Dak and Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons is that top player on defense, even though they were exposed against Green Bay. So,
and that's the thing too. Is like, yeah, he was even. I mean, even that Bland. That cornerback that had a really good year last year, you didn't hear his name at all against the Packers. And he's out the first 6 to 8 weeks this season with the foot injury or something like that.
Yeah, a few weeks.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, I don't know. Would you have signed CD Lamb to an extension?
Not for that much. Not for the money that he got.
And plus, with the money he got. But then again, what happens if you guys don't re-sign Dak and you're paying this receiver all this money, and maybe if Dak doesn't stay in Dallas, the next quarterback they get won't be as productive. So then all of a sudden you're paying all this money to CD Lamb, and you've got a quarterback that can't get him the ball consistently. You're wasting all the money on a couple of players.
More than likely, it could be a rookie that the Cowboys start next year.
Because, I mean, Trey Lance, in that one preseason game, he threw 5 interceptions.
That's not a good sign.
That's crazy to have. I don't know. But then again, he showed flashes of being good, too, Trey Lance did. He had that one long scramble for a touchdown. I mean, you just, like you said, you never know. It's
that injury in 2022 messed him up because he got the starting job at San Francisco, but then he got injured in that with the ankle, and then it was Jimmy G, and then Brock Purdy out of nowhere showed up out of nowhere, and then Trey Lance was pretty much traded from then.
Right.
And the 49ers will have to figure out how to extend Purdy because he's a benefactor of having a lot of good weapons around him.
Yeah, now they're sitting there and they got didn't they just pay Ayuk too?
Yeah, 4 years, $120 million.
So, I mean, it's, yeah.
Had to wait all that long. It was like over a month of frustration and boredom only for Ayuk to be back to San Francisco because there was a rejected trade that would have sent Cortland Sutton to San Francisco for a third-round pick, and then it would have been a 3-way trade that would have sent Ayuk to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I think he would have done better in Pittsburgh, to be honest.
Yeah, it depends on who's throwing to him. I don't have big faith in either Russ or Justin Fields.
Yeah. I don't know. I still, going back to Fields, I can't, I mean, obviously, I can't stand the Bears, but at what point, so now let's say, though, they got rid of Fields because he wasn't doing well, but what if Caleb Williams doesn't do good? Are you going to get rid of him, or are you going to get rid of the coaches that can't coach quarterbacks?
I think it's coaching.
Right.
Eberflus should have been fired after last year, and I don't know what the Bears are doing. Maybe they didn't sign a lot of offensive. They didn't get a lot of offensive line help during the draft.
No.
It was like quarterback, receiver, and then punter of all things.
Right. And that's just the thing too, is like if you don't beef up or shore up your offensive line, you get this rookie quarterback that is new to the NFL. Yeah, I mean, I guess we won't know how Williams fares out until he's starting to get live bullets. But he gets hit a few times and the line loses confidence, and all of a sudden he's getting sacked and sacked and sacked. You have all these receivers that he's not getting the ball to. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yeah.
The Bears, there's just like a dumpster fire in Chicago.
Yeah,
it has been for years, and it's just kind of funny that it's like they always win the off season, but then when it comes time for the regular season, they lose. You know?
Yeah. They'll always suck, no matter what they do.
Right. Well, at one time, the Bears are one of the biggest rivals, but who do you think is the biggest rival to the Packers now?
In division, I say Detroit.
I'm saying, like, I mean, in general, in my eyes, like the last few years, it's been the Vikings and the Niners. Because it's always tough to play the Vikings, whether it's in Green Bay or in Minnesota. But then we get so far in the playoffs, and every team that seems to knock us off is the 49ers, you know?
Yeah, I would definitely say San Francisco for the time being. This year I don't think the Vikings will do that great. JJ McCarthy got hurt, torn surgery out for the season, and then a whole bunch of bad luck has happened. One of the rookies, Tyree Jackson, was involved in a horrible accident.
Right.
And that was another example was just last night with the hockey player.
Yeah.
And his brother.
It's crazy.
They were just on bikes, and some guy who didn't decide to go stay home completely ruined their families.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unfortunate for sure. Yeah, I mean, you got are the Vikings going to trust Sam Darnold?
Unless if he throws a whole bunch of picks, I don't think so. I mean, they do have Kevin O'Connell, who is who is a good coach in some aspects, but it's just bad. It's been bad luck with Sam. It's like he was drafted by the Jets and failed there, and then he was in San Francisco as a depth piece, and he didn't contribute much because of Brock Purdy and everything. And now he's thrust into the starting position because JJ got hurt, and it's just I think the Vikings will be in last place in that division.
Well, I mean, kind of the same thing there. It's, and they just signed Jefferson, not just, but like recently and within the last few months, gave him a big contract. And all of a sudden, your number one draft pick or your first round draft pick quarterback that you had high hopes for gets hurt, season-ending injury, and then you've got all this money going to Jefferson, and you got an average quarterback throwing the ball. Is Jefferson gonna earn his money this year with a backup quarterback? I don't know. That's just the type of thing that can happen when you invest all this money into a position, you know, and all. It's just kind of a fluke of the game, you know, when you go down with an injury.
I mean, Justin Jefferson is one of the best receivers. He's able to make crazy catches, but with him having to trust Sam Darnold to get him the rock, I'm not sure he'll be as productive with him. I know Kirk Cousins left for Atlanta this past offseason, so
right.
Best of luck to him. Even though he's still recovering from the Achilles thing.
Right. And I was actually today too. I was looking at the situation in Cincinnati with Jamar Chase. Is that about contract too? He wants to get paid.
Yes.
Do you think
he's there at practice, but he's not practicing?
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's what happened with Jordan Love in the first week or so, week of camp, because somehow they couldn't figure it out before training camp started. And then I'm glad Jordan Love was there doing everything but practicing. You don't
Right.
want to risk injury with a franchise player not being extended yet. But I'm glad the extension got done after the first week. Was the first week of training camp was not padded practices at all, so it was light work, I guess. But I'm glad that was sorted out and everything's all sunshine and rainbows for now.
For now. But yeah, I thought for the longest time that Justin Jefferson, I thought that he would for sure. Once Cousins went to Atlanta, I thought he would go to Cincinnati to play with Joe Burrow, his college quarterback. You know what I mean? To reunite the LSU 1-2 combo.
I mean, I could be in. That would have been an option for him had he not signed the extension, because T Higgins is on a franchise tag and he could be gone after the season. Jamar Chase is still trying to figure out his thing with the team. I'm hoping that he gets sorted out before week 1.
Right. How about we talk some Packers again?
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of go off and we'll be talking about a certain player, then I think of, oh, Justin Jefferson, oh, this guy, and I kind of all over the place. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite coach in Packer history?
In my lifetime, well, in my lifetime it would be even though I wasn't a fan of them, the Packers at the time, I was in 2000. But so I'll pick Mike Holmgren for my lifetime, like 92 to now, and all time Vince Lombardi, no issue.
Okay. Yeah, I'd definitely go with Lombardi for all time, and like I mean before my lifetime and during my lifetime, I like Matt LaFleur. I like what he brings to the table with the offensive playbook. I've actually gotten a chance to meet him in person before, so wow. He's a super nice guy. He has a super nice family as well. But yeah, Lombardi and LaFleur.
Yeah.
Are you happy we got a new strength and conditioning staff?
Yeah. If hamstrings were pretty much an issue for years, and I'm glad that there hasn't been that much hamstring news because of Aaron Hill's involvement. So I'm just glad that everyone's healthier for now. It's like do some stretching, right? Do some other good things, like and him being. I think the strength and conditioning coach's job is to make sure everyone's okay, to check on every player, see how they're doing, how their legs are feeling, and all that stuff. So I'm glad that they made that change. Much respect to Chris Gizzy. He's a legend for Green Bay because of the holding up the reign with the American flag after the 9/11 stuff in 2001. Always remember him for that, but it didn't pan out as strength and conditioning coach after a while.
Yeah, didn't they get the staff from the Niners, strength and conditioning coaches? I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
And you know what's kind of funny about that is, I don't know, you're in Florida, right?
Yep, I live in Florida.
Yeah, okay. So like there's always talk, I don't know if you guys hear it down there or not, but like some of these coaches that like LaFleur is bringing in, they're all like, oh, they're just buddies of his. That's why he brought him in. Then they bring him in. They don't do anything. And, the media's all over him. Oh, it's just one of his good buddies he wanted to give a coaching job to. Well, from what I've heard, the strength and conditioning coaches that came in from San Francisco, I think, from what I saw a story online. You don't know if to believe it or not. I didn't look too much into it, but one of the guys is like a cousin or something like that to LaFleur's wife.
Okay.
so yeah, but yeah, that's kind of crazy. But yeah, they wanted to get the hamstring thing figured out, and they brought, well, for sure Christian Watson, and I think even Eric Stokes possibly. They had either went down or the reps came up here from University of Wisconsin because they're so nationally recognized as far as like sports medicine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To try to get their hamstring figured out. And so far, we haven't heard any hamstring issues. So hopefully that's a good sign for us.
Yeah. I was heartbroken for Watson because he was playing very well in that couple against the Lions on Thanksgiving and then against the Chiefs, and then late in that Chiefs game he had the hamstring issue again, and it was like oh no, it's like they were trying to run out the clock, was unsuccessfully trying to get something out of that, but thankfully the Packers held on to win that game. That was one of my favorite games of last year.
Yeah, that was definitely a good game last year against the Chiefs. Do you think Eric Stokes makes an impact this year on defense?
As long as he stays healthy with the strength and conditioning stuff and all the stuff that he did, and I think he will. Might be a couple of picks, maybe a forced fumble here and there. So I'm hoping for all the best for Stokes because he hasn't played great since his rookie season. I'm hoping that changes.
Yeah, I hope he didn't lose any speed with his injuries either.
Yeah,
you know, because he a couple of times he got burnt, but he was able to recover because of his speed. So that's hopefully he hangs on to that. What do you have the Packers overall record being?
I'm having a little. Anyway, I wish for them to be undefeated, but I know that's not a real possibility. But I have them between 12 and 14 wins.
Okay.
There might be a couple of weird losses here and there, like on the road in Los Angeles against the Rams, or for some reason they lose to Jacksonville because of a Florida thing. But I'm hoping that hoping at the very least they stay unbeaten at home.
Right. You know, one guy we didn't talk about that kind of made a huge he's had a pretty good preseason was Tyron Hopper.
Oh, Hopper. I think he could be a surprising contributor to the defense.
Absolutely. And I think as it stands now, I think our depth chart goes for running back is going to go Jacobs. I was going to say Marshawn Lloyd, but he's not.
Wilson.
Wilson and then Lloyd. Sucks that A.J. Dillon got hurt, though. That sucks.
Two next stinger injuries in 9 months. This is a bummer for him. He was brought back on a 1-year deal, like $4 million anyway, as a bet minimum. But it just still stinks that we won't be able to see Quadzilla on the field this year.
Yeah, he's big in the community too.
Got the key of Door County.
Yeah, he's the mayor of Door County.
Yeah.
But here in De Pere, a couple years ago, the high school basketball team won the state championship, the boys team, and one of the last games before, if they won the game, they went to the state, whatever, and he was actually there in the student section cheering on De Pere and doing cheers with them and everything. So he's around. He goes to there's players for the Packers that go to local high school football games and watch football, which I think is kind of cool, you know. So
yeah, and Jordan Love is helping donate football equipment for the local high school teams as well.
Yep, he was just at Madison West. Sorry, I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. He was at Green Bay West this last week, I think, talking about his new foundation that he started, and so happens that the week that he was there, like that high school's football team won their first game, and I forgot how long it was, but it's kind of cool the kind of stories that come out when you have players out in the community helping out, and it gives kids confidence, it gets that, which I think is cool.
I mean, before the Packers were even a thing, there was the East-West football rivalry, which still exists today.
Yeah. Yep. Justin, in your opinion, which fans are the most obnoxious?
I most of not that, but I have a couple of couple of things for this. Bears fans during the off season. I guess Cowboys fans are always delusional about, hey, this is our year, and then they collapse. And then another, I'll say Minnesota.
Yeah, for sure, Minnesota, absolutely. They that, and then even Minnesota's football team, like the college. I can't stand PJ Fleck at all.
I had to laugh. I had to laugh at Minnesota because the college team, because there was a missed field goal, and then they mistakenly shot up the fireworks.
Yep, I saw that. But yeah, no, I'm a huge Badger fan. I'm from Madison, so it's that was always awesome to witness. I think at one point I think North Carolina was up, or they're losing to Minnesota. Last I was watching that game last night, and I went to bed, and I'm pretty sure I was like, oh, I hope Carolina can come back and win. Then I wake up and I see it's like 19-17, and they showed the missed field goal. And the best part about that is you see all the Minnesota fans are all like just sitting there like their season's already ruined. First game of the year, and Minnesota fans are already throwing a fit. What do you? Go ahead.
I'm not the biggest college fan, but it was just like always. It's always good, and it's always sometimes heartbreaking in a sense to see all those students being either crazy joy or the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat. There's a lot of emotion involved in these college games, and I hope that every college player stays healthy.
Yeah, for sure. As we all know, that's not the case, but you can always hope for the best and see what happens.
Yeah.
Try to think of a couple more questions for you. What's your favorite sports movie?
I have definitely not Space Jam. In terms of football related, I remember watching remember the Titans. That's with Denzel Washington as the coach. It was based on a true story, and it was definitely emotional pull, tugged the heartstrings. And I haven't seen it in a while, but I know that remember it being a lot of emotions in that movie. So that one and the Adam Sandler Longest Yard. I haven't seen the Burt Reynolds version in full. So my apologies for that.
Why did you say definitely not Space Jam?
It's just I watched that movie years ago, and I had fun with it. It's still a guilty pleasure for me at certain points, but I just
did you like Space Jam better with Jordan or LeBron?
I've only seen the Michael one in full. I haven't seen the LeBron one in full, but if I had to pick a Space Jam movie to watch, I'll just watch the original one with Michael Jordan. Even though I just wish I respect the Looney Tunes, and I respect the Looney Tunes is better than Warner Bros. Currently, and I'm just hoping for better Looney Tunes movies in the future. Just like showing up with Porky and Daffy and hoping.
Yeah, it was funny. The other night we were shopping at Dick's Sporting Goods for my 8-year-old for a pair of shoes, and we were talking to the sales associate, and she's like, "Oh, hey, you guys should go over there and check out our discount shoes. There's shoes that are there that they have like different discounts on when they've been on the shelf for so long." Mm-hmm. She's like, "I got these a pair of LeBron James for like $20." And I'm walking. Wow. I'm like walking towards the rack or whatever, and I turn and I go, I'll never ever wear a pair of LeBron James shoes. And this other shopper that was there, she looks up, she goes, "Right on, brother, right on." And then I go, "I wouldn't even let my kids wear LeBron James shoes." I'm a huge Jordan fan. It's just I grew up in a different era, like I was born in 1982, so when Jordan was in his prime, I was, my teens. So that's when I think of greatness in basketball, I think of Michael Jordan, not LeBron James. Granted, different eras, whatever. That's another conversation. Last question for you, Justin. Then I'll let you go.
Sure.
How is the NFC gonna? And okay, two questions. How is the NFC North gonna finish this year, 1 through 4, and how is the NFC gonna finish in the playoffs?
So, like, all the division winners and then wild cards or something. Okay, NFC North is going to be it's going to be a tight race for between the Packers and Lions for first place, but I think the Packers will edge that out. So, Lions will be in second place, and then Bears in third place, Vikings in last place.
Okay, and who's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl?
I think the Packers pull it off. They're gonna make it all the way to New Orleans and face off against Kansas City, and hopefully, and you know, maybe it's they are capable of winning it all. And I think they're going to deny the Chiefs of a three-peat.
Yeah, and like they say, history repeats itself. In '96 they won it. 14 years later, in 2010 they won it. 2024 is 14 years later. So hopefully that comes true this year for the Packers. That would be awesome.
That's another thing. And when that happens, I'm gonna buy all the Super Bowl celebration merchandise, like the hat and T-shirt at least.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Justin, I want to thank you for being on tonight. Where can people find you on social media?
Well, I have in my underhead where it's at Justin_Amandro, AMANDRO on Twitter/X. I have my podcast with Mary is called Mac and Cheese. The Mac and Cheese podcast is also on YouTube, and we're gonna be having a couple. We're gonna be having seasons here before we know it. Next week is Packers Eagles time, and we're gonna be previewing that game plus, and we're gonna be full steam ahead during the season. So
absolutely. How many episodes a week do you guys do when the season starts?
I'm hoping for at least 2 episodes a week during the season. So that's the hope. Schedules may change for me and Mary, but on the whole, I think we're gonna try to do our best to do 2 a week.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to your podcast, and I want to thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Maybe I'm booked like through I think October, but I'll try to get you. Maybe I'll hit you back up here in a few months and see if you have any interest in being on again. I'd love to have you back on when the season's kicked underway and we have some games to talk about.
Oh, absolutely. I would definitely like to be on again.
Awesome. Well, again, Justin, thank you, and you have a good night.
Thank you.
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go.